is up, YouTube? My name is Mario, aka the Loot Box Hero. Check out the second channel. The second channel is popping, aka the Real Super Mario, aka the Neto Yo Nigga. That's a reference to one of the videos. Aka YouTube's greatest fat man here, bringing you another video. All right, so we have an interesting video today. So we got some follow-ups on some of the stories that we talked about last week. We have, of course, the 4chan text dump that has information on not only Pokemon Legends ZA, but also Generation 10. We also have Switch 2 information because, of course, I recorded this episode, and then when I woke up this morning, Switch 2 information is just everywhere. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, gotta add to this video. Already kind of long, but that's all right, though. I'll re-record a couple things, as well as more in this video today. So, of course, you want to continue videos like this from me. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button. Don't let something YouTube requires you to continue getting videos from me. Follow me at twitter.com/RSMario128. Like my video tweet, share my video tweet, and I'll shout you out this portion of the video. Alright, so we're going to get on into this. We're going to start off a little different today. Since we have, since we don't have too much Pokemon stuff, I'm going to go ahead and front load it for you. So we're going to start off with the 4chan text dump. So, this says Legend ZA trailer details plus Gen 10 information. Alright, of course, you know, this is 4chan. Alright, take it with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? Because it could be fake. Alright, it's literally a 50-50 chance. Okay? Could be fake, could be real. But take it with a grain of salt. So, it says, here you go. Trailer for ZA dropping Friday. Thursday the 9th of January in the US and on the 10th in Japan. Starters are shown to be Froakie, Chespin, and Finnegan, Chespin, and Froakie. Returning Pokemon from the trailer is the Pidgey line, the Phoebus line, the Swinub line, the Boxcalibur line, the Cubone line, and a Alolan Vulpix line. And regional forms will be Colossal, Hippopotas, Charcadet, Marshhold are shown. Colossal is a blue, gray, and white. Charcadet is gray and yellow, and Marshhold is brown and black. A sketch map of Lumino City in the center shows 5 points of interest in various areas around the city. So this is already starting off pretty interesting. So as far as the date, that's January 9th, that's an interesting date. I don't think that's Pokemon Day, to be honest, but I can see them doing the January thing because, you know, they haven't done anything else in 2024, so we have to get something eventually. I don't know about these 3 different dates though, because he said it was going to drop Friday, and then it's going to drop Thursday on the 9th in the US and the 10th in Japan. Why wouldn't it drop in Japan first? If they're going to do this weird like titration of like, you know, the trailer. Like, I don't know why they would do that. Not to mention, where is this coming from that it's going to get there before it gets to us and Japan? Like, is this China? Like, where is he coming from with this? The starters being the Gen 6 starters, I think everybody's kind of, you know, kind of figured that that's what's gonna happen. You know, everybody wants different starters, but more than likely, it was probably gonna get the Gen 6 starters. Returning Pokemon, this is not a bad lineup. You know, the Pidgey line, Feebas line, Swinub line, Boxcalibur line, not bad, not a bad lineup. Now the regional forms is where things get interesting. So Colossal is not a bad one. All right. Hippopotas is not bad. Charcadet is where it gets weird because what else can you do with Charcadet? I mean, because you've already got the one with the cannons, and you know you already got the one with the swords. So I mean, what else like can you do as far? What else can it evolve into? Like, you know, are they gonna do regionals of those 2 Pokemon, or is it gonna be a completely new evolution that he evolves into? Either way, I am intrigued. Why would they do a regional Marshhold, and why is it brown and black? You know, and I mean, You know what I'm saying? If this is a brown / black marsh hole, like, is the daddy there? Is this a female only marsh hole? I'm gonna edit that out. It shows a collage clip of these areas. Snow, caves, mountains, lakes, and forests are all seen, which, how are you gonna have all of these areas in a city? You know, I mean, that's kind of, I don't know how you're gonna do all these different biomes in one city. It shows a battle scene with a trainer between Froakie and Cubone. It has a clip of a Pokemon Center and a Poke Store next to each other. It shows catching a Swinub and a Great Ball. It shows a meeting room with a chalkboard on it, what looks like Mega Evolution symbol to a name that you can't read. The trailer ends with the aerial drone style shot of Lumino's City, where you can see the outskirt regions. Then it zooms into a gym style room where Sylveon is standing ready for battle, and you can see it has a Mega Stone around it on its collar, and then it cuts to the title screen. So Sylveon's getting a Mega, supposedly, which, okay, I mean, that's not bad. Alright, I mean, if you're gonna give one evolution a Mega, you're probably gonna have to give them all Megas. Because, I mean, it would just be fair, you know, because just giving one to Sylveon is a little weird. You know, the same thing if, you know, goes for, like, regionals or Dynamaxes, or you can't just give one Pokemon out of a set. You know, it's kind of like if they only gave one legendary bird an alternate form, or if they gave one genie a Therian. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just give one evolution a Mega. That's just kind of weird. So, new Megas are Raichu, Palossand, Seviper, Zangoose, Dragonite, Togekiss, Skarmory, Dreadnought, Conkeldurr, Vikavolt, Sylveon, along with the starters, as well as Mega Zygrade, Zygarde, and Mega Xerneas, and Yveltal. So, that is not a bad set right there. All of these Pokemon are kind of good, but they're not like top tier good, because I don't understand, like, why would you give a broken form like Mega Evolution to Pokemon that are already good? You know what I'm saying? Why does Tyranitar, freaking you know what I'm saying, Salamence, why do these Pokemon that are already good, they're already top tier Pokemon in the meta, why did they have Megas? I don't understand. Why would you make them even more broken? I can understand, like, the favorites of people, like Charizard, the Gen 1 starters, you know what I'm saying? But Salamence? Really? You know, so Raichu, Palossand, yeah, not bad. Seviper, Zangoose, nobody really thinks about them that much. Dragonite, I can kind of see. The only problem I have with this set is no Flygon. If Flygon gets left out again, we riot, okay? We officially gonna riot, cuz. Alright, come on now. Alright, so then we go down to the Gen 10 information. So, it says for Generation 10, it's not Greece. It's based in the Indonesian archipelago, which actually is a pretty interesting idea. Because Indonesia is a pretty big archipelago of islands. And it does have different biomes. Like, there's more jungle, there's forest. Some of the biomes are more like flat plains type of biomes. I can kind of see that, you know, because Greece doesn't exactly have like a jungle. I mean, it has kind of like forest, but it doesn't have, like, you know, for real, like lush forest areas like Indonesia does, because it's not a tropical country. So, not to mention the amount of variety of animals in Indonesia is kind of crazy. So, yeah, I can see that. It says the starters are based on a sun bear, a tiger, and a water buffalo. I don't know about this one. There needs to be a lizard. Alright, there's got to be a reptile somewhere in there. So, I'm going to call cap on that one. The starting city is based on Jakarta, because why wouldn't it be? Other Pokemon, early developed Pokemon designs, a kangaroo, a rhino, a Komodo dragon. Okay, wait a minute. This might be cap, but I'm interested though. Komodo Dragon, a Komodo Dragon Pokemon will be lit. Bro, he should be one of the starters, bro. Swap out one of them dudes. Swap out the Water Buffalo and make the Komodo Dragon the water starter. Make him evolve into like a water poison type. That'd be lit. It'd be lit. Come on, bro. Let's see. Reveal on Pokemon Day, similar to Generation 9 with a theatrical trailer. 2026 release date for the 30th anniversary. So, I'm going to be honest. This all sounds really good, which is why it probably won't happen. It probably won't happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as the Gen 10 stuff, they do need a reptile as one of the starters. Because, I mean, unless they just want to break that tradition, I don't think they will. As far as the Legends ZA stuff goes, all that stuff sounds pretty good, to be honest. It all sounds pretty good, other than the date for the trailer. So, we're moving on. Then we move on to another Sony-ish story, and I say Sony-ish because it's not exactly a PlayStation game, but it kind of is a PlayStation game. So, Light of Motrim, Light of Motrim. And if this game looks familiar, that's because this is basically a Chinese knockoff version of Horizon Zero Dawn. This is probably the most expensive knockoff since Power World. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, bruh, like, at least Power World tried to copy Nintendo's homework, but, do it a little bit different, you know what I'm saying? Light of Motrim is like copying, your friend's test, you know what I'm saying, but just putting your name on it. You don't even like try to answer some of the other questions different to throw off the teacher. No, you answer every question the same they did, and you just change the name. That's exactly what this is. I mean, you can look at the poster. Like the poster, like the pose that the chick is in. Alright, the fact that she has like a staff, the color scheme, everything is exactly the same. That's an insane level of detail when it comes to plagiarism, bro. The most detailed piece of plagiarism in the gaming world. Light of Motrim. That's crazy. Alright, and then of course, you've got people, saying that this is a bad thing, but you've also got people defending it. Most of the people being culture warriors. Alright, and they're defending this because it is a more aesthetically pleasing version of Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. Alright, because if you know in Horizon Zero Dawn, like, I think it was Horizon 2, they changed, like, there was changes in the dev team, and some of the character designers left, and so new ones came in, or new ones got promoted or whatever, and so of course they were woke. So that was when, like, they took Aloy and they kind of made her look like Nikocado Avocado. I think her face looks a little bit better now with like the remake versions, but yeah, that was a time where she was kind of fugly. There was a whole controversy about the peach fuzz, that she had, and the peach fuzz is really just the natural hair that grows on a person, and they were trying to show off how powerful the graphics were, that you could see that. A lot of people took it as, oh, why does Aloy have like a beard? You know what I'm saying? Like a 5 o'clock shadow type of deal. There's been a lot of controversies with Horizon, okay? And people mostly talking about dumb stuff. The worst... and not talking about the worst part of Horizon, which is the writing. Okay, like, put all the other stuff aside, the writing is probably the wokest part of Horizon. Because if you go into Horizon, like the sequel, Forbidden West, they build up these villains. And the villain just turns out to be like Space Bezos and his rich white friends. There's literally a person in there that is like an allegory for Elon. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, bro, this is stupid. Like, you just wrote a story about a bunch of billionaires you didn't like and put it into this multi-million-dollar video game. That's crazy. So now, of course, the culture warriors are defending Light of Motrim because Light of Motrim is the non-woke version of Horizon, when in actuality, this is just like eighth level plagiarism. It's insane. Alright, so we have a follow-up from a story from last week. This is a follow-up to the China banning Nintendo Switch Online. So it says, behind the changes of the Switch in China, third-party service providers are behind-the-scenes factors and users will receive 4 free games. So we already know that part. So it says, according to the announcement after 2,200 hours on May 15th, 2026, the Switch eStore in China will shut down. Download, redemption, and other network-related services. The official also emphasized that the sales and after-sales services of related consoles, accessories, game cartridges, and use of standalone games and local online play functions of games, if any, will not be affected. In the eyes of many users, this change was quite sudden, as was affected by the news that the official store of the Switch in China switched service providers at the beginning of the year. Over the past 6 months, there have been many speculations in the market about the future development of the Switch in China. However, there are actual reasons behind the adjustment in the operations of the Switch in China. Sourced exclusively with 36KR Games, that this is an operational adjustment mainly involves network services including multiple key functions such as eStore data verification. So basically, they wanted to like verify the data to make sure people are who they say they are. Maybe they wanted to add in an age, like an age situation, like where it verifies your age, and you know, in order to buy things, you had to be over a certain age. Because we all know that China has put in a lot of restrictions on kids playing video games and how long they can play video games. I think they're only supposed to be allowed to play like a couple hours a day or something to that extent. And so this stuff is hardwired into the games, like on a software level, like, you know, where, you know, there's something that stops you from playing after a couple of hours. And so maybe something like that is what they're trying to do. Like they wanted to verify that, oh, how old are you before you can buy a game, you know, or something to that extent. Maybe that's what they were going for. These tasks have been handled by a network service provider that has long cooperated with Nintendo, connecting the Chinese version of the Switch platform and Nintendo. However, due to recent changes in the service provider's business in China, it can no longer continue to undertake it, and Nintendo cannot transfer the relevant work to a new third party, causing Tencent, which is responsible for the operation of the Chinese version of the Switch, to make relevant adjustments. So I believe this is more of a Tencent issue. So Nintendo was working with a third party that would, you know, network provider. So something has happened with that network provider and they can't maintain Nintendo's network anymore. Now this could be a couple of different things. So this could be Nintendo changing its network and needing more bandwidth or needing more support, because we know that they're probably going to be doing big things with the Nintendo Switch Online as far as cloud gaming goes. You know, there's rumors that GameCube might be part of it, you know, where you can play GameCube games through the cloud, which would probably require more infrastructure or more bandwidth or basically more support in general. Maybe that company just couldn't do that. Or this could be something going on with the Chinese economy. All right, because if you don't know, the Chinese economy is actually going through a huge downturn post-COVID. And so a lot of companies are being negatively affected. And so a lot of companies just can't do the things that they could do, you know, 4 years ago. And so maybe that's a situation. You know, this company could be connected to Tencent. Like, this is the Tencent contracted third party. So if you're working with Tencent as your publisher, you have to work with this company as your third party network provider. And if that company can't work with Nintendo anymore because they just can't do it, then Nintendo's out of luck, because contractually, if you're working with Tencent, you can't work with another provider. Alright, so that sounds kind of like what's happening. Alright, like this is a business contractual issue. And the contracted third-party provider just can't work with Nintendo anymore, probably for a technical reason. And due to the business contract, Nintendo can't switch the providers until after 2026 or May 15th, 2026. So, speaking of tech news, we have Elon in the video game news. It says Elon Musk announces plans to create an AI game studio to make gaming great again, quote unquote. So, alright, that title alone is already relatively cringe. Making gaming great again, that's weird. AI game studio, that's super duper cringe. We're going to go ahead and check this out, though. It says, the world's richest man has apparently had enough. Elon today announced plans to create an AI game studio to make gaming great again. Musk, a longtime gamer who was at one time the world's top-ranked Diablo 4 player, has been vocal in the past with his opinions on the gaming industry and its shift toward identity politics and virtue signaling. Musk has weighed in repeatedly on topics like pronoun selection appearing in AAA video games and other agenda-driven content making its way onto consoles. This ideological approach to storytelling has become the rule in modern gaming rather than the exception, and gamers have started to push back after the disastrous rollout of games like Suicide Squad, Dragon Age Vanguard, Concord, Dustborn, and Star Wars Outlaws. Gamers are doing whatever they can to make their voices and opinions heard. So, of course, this sounds very pro AI, pro AI studio. That's because this is coming from That Park Place, and That Park Place is basically a culture war website that does the stories that culture warriors usually cover. Now, my opinion on this is a little mixed. I kind of wish Elon would have just started a regular game studio that was just not woke. Like, that would be perfect. Just start a non-woke video game studio. Why does it have to be AI? You know what I'm saying? There are plenty of game developers, designers, writers, programmers that have been pushed out of the industry for one reason or another that you could have hired, you know what I'm saying, to come to a real game studio to make not woke video games. Like, I think this is dumb. I'm just going to be honest with you, But it goes on to say, Elon reposted on a X post from Dogecoin creator Billy Marcus. I don't understand how game developers and game journalists got so ideologically captured. Marcus said, gamers have always been trolls, anti-greedy corporations, and anti-BS. Gamers have always rejected dumb, manipulative BS and can tell when someone is an outsider poser. And so then Musk responded, too many game studios are owned by massive corporations. XAI is going to start an AI game studio to make games great again. So him saying that too many game studios are owned by massive corporations, and him being one of the richest people in the world who owns several massive corporations, is like, that's like ironic on a whole different level. But yeah, again, I'm not a big fan of this idea. I think Elon should have just started a regular game company. Like, he doesn't have to like baby this. He doesn't have to be involved in every aspect. You could just throw some money at it. You know what I'm saying? Just, he could buy a game company. He could buy like some kind of small studio, and then just, you have that Elon effect where with that new Elon money, they'll be able to expand and make an anti-woke game studio. Or actually, it doesn't even have to be anti-woke, because that's kind of cringe now too. Just make a game studio that makes games the way we did years ago, that tells the stories the way we did years ago before everything got crazy. Perfect. This man want to make AI video games. Come on, dog. Alright, so we move along to the main event. We move along to Switch 2. So, we're going to start off the Switch 2 with he who shall not be named because he blocked me. You know what I'm saying? But he says a Chinese insider claims that Nintendo Switch 2 is getting revealed in January for a March launch. This person leaked in Weibo correct pretty much everything regarding the last Nintendo Direct and was largely ignored in the West because it was on Weibo, and of course, you know, we don't really get much stuff from Weibo. So the post that he posted said, official announcement in January, released in March, initial shipment of volume for each region confirmed to be around 6.5 million. Nintendo Switch was 2.74 million, so I guess this is at launch. Starting in September, the production scale of some parts has reached hundreds of thousands. Recently, there are reports of the T239 starting to ship in large quantities. So, if you don't know what the T239 is, that is the system on a chip that is that everybody believes the Switch 2 is going to be based on. So, it's an NVIDIA SoC. And so if they're shipping it in large quantities, they're probably doing this for the mass production of the Switch. So I believe last week I talked about how Nintendo said they wanted like 7 million Switches in order to stop scalpers and stop, like, you know, running out of stock. So this would actually match up with that. 6.5 million is very close to 7. Now the problem with this is, one, I don't think it'll stop the scalpers because the retailers are the problem when it comes to the scalpers, because the retailers need to sell, you know, a set number to each person instead of just letting one person buy like 10 units or whatever. You know, it's just limit it to 3. All right, nobody got 10 kids they buying Switches for. They lying, okay? All right, unless you're Elon or something. You know what I'm saying? Elon's got like 10 kids, or, you know, but yeah, the other thing is, I think this is a bad marketing move, and I'll tell you why. Because rarity actually creates FOMO. It creates the fear of missing out. So if the system is kind of rare and it kind of runs out sometime, more people will buy it next time it drops, because there's a fear of missing out. The fear of, oh, I need to get one now. I need to hurry up. We need to go. But if there's plenty of them, then somebody might put it off. So, oh, well, I'll get one later. You know what I'm saying? You want to create that element of, like, you need to get it now. You need to come on. You need to hurry up. You might not get one. You need to create that as if you're selling something. And I know it sounds grimy, but that's just the way business works, though. You know. All right, so the next big leak we have for the Switch 2, we have Pori, and he says, alleged hardware leak. Nintendo Switch 2 Joycons showed up on Bilibili. This time, they're looking more complete. We've got some pictures here. You know, it looks kind of good. It looks kind of good. I can't find the old pictures of the Switch 2 that we had from like a month ago. You know what I'm saying? But to try to compare them, I might do that in another video if I can find those screenshots. But yeah, this actually looks kind of good. People were saying that it looks fake because it looks kind of rubbery, like it was 3D printed, you know, which is possible. It's very possible that it could be fake. But how can you tell when this jam looked like somebody took it with a cell phone covered in Vaseline? Bro, I got a Pixel 2, and my little Pixel 2 can take better pictures than whatever this man took these pictures with. That's crazy, you know. But the coolest thing we get to see here is we get to see there's an additional trigger. Alright, so there is the regular triggers on the top, and then when you take the Joy-Cons off, there's an additional trigger. So like for when you're playing like this, you can use that additional trigger as like the regular trigger. That actually seems like a really cool idea. Also, I mean, it's put in a way where you can use it if it's, you know, on the system or not. So basically, the system still has the 2 triggers, and the IR sensors take place where the original shoulder buttons were. So you've got triggers, but then you got the IR sensor. So I actually think that looks pretty cool. That looks pretty cool. All right, so we're going on to commentary. So we have from the last Pokemon Legends ZA video I did on Saturday. It says Carrion Worm 5355 says, to be honest, all I need is Pokemon and me being able to sit on chairs again, houses having interiors, and fossil Pokemon, and I'll be happy AF. To be honest, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I don't really need to sit in chairs, but it would be nice. But I would like to have more buildings with interiors. You know what I'm saying? And fossil Pokemon. I didn't even realize that I missed fossil Pokemon until recently. I was like, yeah, there was no fossil Pokemon. Bring that back. You know what I'm saying? You can take at least 4 spots on the Pokédex for some fossil Pokemon. Make it a side quest where you got to get the fossils and do something like that. I'm cool with it. So then we had Mr. Bubbles. He said Water Ghost is a Phantom of the Opera joke. And this is a reference to, in that video, I talked about it was a big girthy 4chan leak where they were talking about the starters, and one of them was Poplio being a water ghost. And I was like, what kind of Pokemon, what kind of reference would that be? Would it be like a Banshee? Because, Poplio is like an opera singer. But Water Ghost, Poplio would be a reference to a Phantom of the Opera. And I'm like, oh, that works. That works. And then to be honest, now I think it'll be pretty cool. Alright, so then Aurora Honeydew 9607 says 20 megas is hot. Nah, I need 20 megas is a lot. Nah, I need at least 50 plus. If it's a new game, they should go hard with the flavoring. Also, Arches wasn't time travel. It was also it's also a multiverse. If it had to be compared to something, it would be like Jotaro Kujo found himself in Steel Ball Run universe, with Scarlet and Violet being the Jolyon. So, if you don't know what that last part is, that's actually JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Personally, I have not made it to Steel Ball Run. I've been anime only in the manga for a while. So, but yeah, he basically was saying Legends Arceus was also a multiverse, and I felt like it was time travel, but he's probably right on this one. But yeah, Legends Arches is the McDonald's crossover game. That's the McDonald's promo from it's Legend Arches. You got to play as Ronald McDonald. If so then we have Blueberry Sabrosa says, if Cinderace is really going to be a fire fairy, then maybe turning it into something like Alice in Wonderland, late rabbit with a giant clock, and others. So to be honest, I think this would be pretty cool, because in that same video they said that Cinderace is going to be one of the starters, and then it will be a fire fairy type instead of going fire fighting. So this actually kind of works. Alright, have you ever seen Alice in Wonderland? It's the rabbit with the top hat and the clock, and I'm like, yeah, that would kind of work. Maybe, he could hit people with the clock instead of hitting people with the ball. You know what I'm saying? That would be a pretty interesting reference. I don't know what that has to do with France per se, because I think Alice in Wonderland might be like a British story. I might be wrong. I don't know much about my European literary history. But yeah, so that would be a pretty good idea. Alright, so that's about it for this. Tell me what you think in the comments. Drop your comment down below, and it will be on commentary. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, people, keep it real.